YouTube. Okay, I'm going to talk to you all about my favorite topic today. And my favorite topic, of course, is building an online business and getting yourself all of those wonderful clients and all of that wonderful money and all of that wonderful freedom so that you can build a life that you really wanted. But sometimes it can feel like it's never going to happen. Sometimes it feels like you've been in this business forever, particularly online coaches, course creators, consultants, service providers, right? That's you, that's who I'm talking to. And so what I want to do is I want to break this down so that you can understand it in a way that makes sense. Because I feel like there's too many marketing and sales gurus out there representing the industry and not talking about building an actual business. And I like to remind you, you're building a business. You're not just building a service. You're not just offering coaching. You're building a business. So how do businesses work? What do we do? I'm going to try and explain it here. And I've got an axis. Now, I am not a math whiz. So any of you math whizzes, don't come at me. This is just how I describe things. There's the progress axis against time. Now, we, of course, are all conditioned to believe at the very beginning, and marketing will tell us that it's going to look like this, right? And that's what we think. We're going to start and the time's going to pass and our progress will exponentially grow at the same time. If it happened like that, it would be amazing. Do not get me wrong. This is true for some people. You will hear real stories about people who build their businesses and get to 6, 7 figures within a very short period of time. But just like all of the athletes that go to the Olympics, what you'll find when you go and speak to them isn't that it's an overnight success because they're standing on the podium with their medals. It's the years and decades of effort that went in before that created that outcome. Same for your business. So I like to describe it like this, and it's a bit like a hockey stick, and you might have already seen people talk about hockey sticks, but essentially what it is right at the very beginning, you actually think like you're making some really good progress. Now, this progress is because you're in a learning phase. And you know, when you learn something new, you get a high from it. It's exciting. So for my coach friends, you might be getting coaching certification. So you're in a coach school and they're teaching you. For those of you who are going to do done for you services with technology, maybe you learned a new piece of tech, or it's a tech tool that you've really understood. So you feel like you've made a lot of progress, but then the reality hits. And this is the reality. And I like to call this piece here, which looks like you're not making any progress, but time is going. This to me is what I call your business fundamentals. Now, the truth is you are progressing. It's just we're not measuring this progress correctly, because here what you're measuring usually is how much money am I making or how many clients have I signed. But here is where the work of building a business really is. This is you getting to understand who you help, how you help them. So most people will call this a niche. I don't call it a niche because I find too many people get lost in niche drama. I just call this the teeny little pond that you're going to start building your business in. You're not ready for the ocean because you don't have a trawler with a great big net to catch all the fish. So just go to a tiny pond and start to speak to the people that you know you can help and explain to them how. So if you are somebody in the weight loss industry, here's what I mean by that. If you're talking to somebody in their 50s about how to get stronger and lose weight and get toned up again, the way you're going to write your marketing material, which is also part of your business fundamentals, right? That I call your sales mechanism, because that's part of marketing, is how do you sell what you've got through marketing and sales. Then back to my weight loss. So a 50-year-old is going to be looking and reading different material than an 18-year-old. than a male, than somebody who wants to be a bodybuilder versus somebody who's into CrossFit, versus somebody like me who needs a very strong core to ride horses, versus somebody who wants strong muscular arms to look good in a bathing suit, right? The language is different. So that's what I mean about picking your ponds, a small group to begin with, so you can learn how to market to them and attract them and get them into your world, which I call audience building. And audience building is a business fundamental as well. And it's one of the ones that you can find out more about. I've done a separate YouTube on, so go search for that, or I've linked it here. I'm not sure if I'm clever enough to link it here yet. Audience building is here. Now, also here is know your numbers. Now, why have I got know your numbers? Because tell me, people, what business on the planet doesn't know ahead of time what their numbers are? So their numbers will think, well, how much is my product being offered for sale? What is my profitability on that? How do I acquire it? Am I investing? So in my audience build, I might pay for ads. So I need to understand the cost of those ads and then how much money I make. Is it profitable? Should I keep doing this? In an online world, you need to know how many people you can expect to register for an event. And then if they're registering, how many will show up? And if they're showing up, how many can you convert? And if you're doing discovery calls, it goes on. You want to make sure you've got a good understanding of those numbers so that you can keep your brain on task. Because also in your business fundamentals is something that I call my think framework when I teach these. And it's basically just how to manage your mind, because you cannot outthink or outperform the way you think. So if you think it's not working, you're right. If you think it's going to work, but it's going to take a lot of effort, you're also right, right? So what we think is vital to building your business. So when I talk about my business fundamentals, this is where I see some of the people that come to me for help in this space. They could have been at this for years. I myself took 3 or 4 years to work this stuff out when it should have only taken 3 or 4 months, but I kept getting the wrong. I'm going to rephrase that. I wasn't aware of what I didn't know. So where I was searching for help, didn't understand building a business. They just understood a marketing strategy that a business could leverage. So they gave me a piece of a puzzle and it made no sense to me. So I made no progress. So this is what I want you to really think about when you're building your business. Get these business fundamentals correct. Get these really, really strong and in place. And what I want to remind you all is initially, you want to make it simple and specific. So fish in a pond, not the ocean. I also want you to make your offers one. So you might want to have 3 or 4 different offers, but that means you need 3 or 4 different ways to market. And that means you've got 3 or 4 different periods to do marketing communication, launches, you name it, it's more complicated, right? So pick one service that you're going to offer, pick one product that you're going to sell, pick one target market that you're going to play in, the pond, right? Then what happens is this goes much faster because you're rinsing and repeating and improving instead of changing the game, stopping and starting, shiny objects. That never works. You know it never works. And then what happens is eventually you get to here. And now here is where these measurements start to come into play, because what you'll find is you'll start to make sales. And so this is what I call your growth. Now, this is brilliant because this starts to say, okay, these business fundamentals are working. I'm attracting the right audience to me. My email list is growing. My audience build platform, i.e. how I get my message out to my audience, is getting repetitive, i.e. if you've got a YouTube channel, you're putting up weekly videos. If you're writing a blog, you've got weekly blog posts. So people know this. They start to look for you. They start to come and seek the information. You're no longer pushing it at it, they're pulling it to them. That's the growth. Then you can start to scale And this is when you'll hear people saying, I 10x'd my business this year. It's simply because they've got their business fundamentals so well understood and known, the delivery mechanism within their business, so how they operate their business, the teams that they may have supporting them, their technology, funnels, their collateral and assets, they're all in place, and they are now in the business of marketing and selling and serving. That's why they can escalate this, because they can go out of the pond into the river, and then from the river into the ocean. So they can get building, and growing and getting bigger and bigger audiences, which leads to bigger and bigger conversions in terms of clients and money. If you do not get this business fundamentals piece in place, because this is something that can be as quick or as long as you choose to make it. It's like trying to build a house on a shaky foundation. You can't have a house stand up and be able to build, additional wings and maybe put on a second story if the foundation is rocky and not solid. So focus on your business fundamentals, get them correct. And yes, of course, this is my experience, this is my expertise, this is what I teach my people. So if you want to know more about my business fundamentals program, just take a look below, or text me, email me, don't text me, email me or direct message me, and we can talk. But net, get this stuff known really upfront and early, and then just get to work about practicing it and getting better at it. Because remember, this is part of the 4 stages of learning. A lot of this stuff will be when you are consciously incompetent. Go find that video as well, 4 stages of learning. Consciously incompetent, which means it doesn't feel good. Learning how to market sucks. Learning how to perhaps use a new platform for audience building sucks. Learning how to do something in an audience building when you first start sucks, because you've never done it before. So it's hard. It feels like crap. And online business building, as I explained in that video, there's a lot of stuff that you're new to. So don't despair. Don't let your brain think that it can't. Just keep refocusing and reworking and re-engineering and keep going. Don't change. Stick to one. Get it working. Because if you keep swapping that out, you're back to square one, right? You're back to here always. Just keep building so that you too can end up doing this. Any questions, pop them in the comments. I will answer them. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.